We all love the finer things in life.
Yes, we do.
I know I do. Especially, Stephen, when it comes to waterfront property. Who doesn't dream of that? And to be quite honest, it doesn't get better than this. Along the shores of Lake Michigan, the beautiful sunsets, really just one positive to living along the lake. But what if that dream property began to disappear? Well, shoreline erosion, it's nothing new, right? Not a new phenomenon, but the increase of land loss has grown rapidly in recent years.
And it's one thing to say that shoreline is eroding, but it's another thing to actually see it. Nathan Voidovic joins us this morning on Weather Command. Nathan, good morning. You're the owner of Nate's Dronography. You took the video. Incredible to see. It's sad to see, too. And when we look into southwest Michigan, so it's the Michigan side of Lake Michigan, you've filmed this shoreline multiple times. Is the rate of erosion surprising to you? It doesn't really seem like it's been a slow process.
Yeah, it is surprising to me. Every year, from fall to spring, when you get them strong northwest cold winds coming across that lake, it seems like we lose a little bit more of the bluff. And this year, especially, we had a really windy start to spring. I believe it was one of the windiest ones Michigan's had in some time. And you can just see the damage it's doing. Now, erosion's been around for a while, but to see how far it's progressed, and then there's really no signs of it stopping. It's sad. It's a sight to see, and you need that drone to really get a perspective of just how bad it really is becoming. So hopefully they could come up with a plan.
Yeah, and the problem is it's not an easy fix or a cheap one either,
No.
generally speaking, right? Want to ask you too, the video we were showing from your drone is from April, but we want to also put into perspective because this is something you've been watching over time. And over the past couple of years, we were able to find some video that you shared from 2021. So what, about 4 years ago? And want to show people this is from November of 2021 in Benton Harbor. I mean, look at outside of the erosion, how beautiful this is. But then if you take a look at, and I think you can probably put into better perspective of what we're looking at now in some of these areas, to see that change. Have you been able to speak to people in these areas? I mean, it's just got to be so nerve-wracking and unsettling.
Yeah, I have, and I also work in a town called New Buffalo where erosion's been a problem, especially when Lake Michigan was at a record high a couple years ago. A couple houses actually fell into the lake. I know they're trying to throw, limestone blocks. They're spending, 40, 50 plus thousand a year just to try to keep their portion of the bluff together. So it is sad. Some people are leaving homes. Some people want to move homes. The lake's kind of just taking away that bluff. So yeah, it's sad. Definitely to see. It's a beautiful view, but the view comes at a cost. And I genuinely don't know how they're going to stop, Lake Michigan from progressing because it's just been getting worse over the years. And right now, the lake's actually very low. It's at a very low point compared to what it was a few years ago. So what happens when it gets back to that high stage again? And then you get them, 15, 20-foot waves in the winter. It becomes pretty crazy out there. It's almost like the ocean. It's hard to remember it's a lake sometimes.
I mean, we're seeing some of that wave action on Lake Michigan, and I think we've said it already. This is all video that you have shot. It's gorgeous,
Correct.
but you do deal with these lake levels. It's a natural part of the process for whether it be the ocean or the Great Lakes to chew away at that shoreline. What's been concerning to experts has been the rate of erosion, how fast it's occurring, and it has come not just at a property loss. Well, I mean, you would consider it property loss when you lose a home, but there have been homes that have been lost, right? There have been local reports coming out of St. Joseph, Michigan, of a subdivision apparently being affected tremendously. I guess what draws you to this part of Lake Michigan? It's where you're from, right?
Right, yeah. I'm from the area, and I've always been drawn to the beauty of the lake, but it's easy to forget just how powerful the lake is and how dangerous it can be, because one day we could have 20-foot waves and, the bluff's eroding, and the next day it'll be calm as glass. I mean, to me, it's just fascinating. And I've lived here my whole life, and I still will go out there every day, and I'm just amazed by the beauty of it, but also the power of it. You get to see the power of water. This is just water, moving water, and Mother Nature taking back what it originally had. So
It is heartbreaking. I'm also from Michigan, so going to New Buffalo
Okay.
and going into Sagatuck, to all these areas, they're they attract a lot of visitors every summer too, you know, just because it's so beautiful. You get people from Chicago, from Indiana, everybody wants to come into Michigan to enjoy it. But it's not just Lake Michigan, though we've seen that up and down the coast, right? We've seen it in other lakes. Huron, I think, has been experiencing some of that, and it may be Superior, but it is heartbreaking, right? You compare it to an ocean. We were just talking about some of the coastal homes in North Carolina that also experienced some homes that got washed away because of just the battering of the Atlantic Ocean. I think your video is just so important to share the story because, as Stephen mentioned earlier, it's one thing to talk about it, but be able to show it, your home state, and to show people what folks are dealing with, and to lose your home and
Yeah,
to have a home on the
it's
water.
heartbreaking, and I do feel
Yeah,
really bad because they got a lot of money in those properties, and
yeah,
just to watch it just slowly get eaten away every single, winter, spring. That's when I say those seasons. I make it happen during the summer, but winter, spring, fall, that's when you get all those big waves. It is sad to see it just slowly by slowly, and I'm sure it's just kind of a helpless feeling. Like, what can you do? I mean, sure you could throw some rocks and maybe a little wall, but that's not going to stop a lake.
Yeah, and
So I hope they can come up with a solution, or maybe move houses inland a little bit more. And yeah.
yeah, we've seen
So,
those incredible measures happen along the Cape in Massachusetts, where there has
yep.
been notable erosion. But as you know, Nathan, that takes a lot of money, and you
A
weigh the
lot.
risks. Is it worth it? I mean, what we're seeing with Lake Michigan. So I mean, it's a conversation that will certainly continue. We
For
appreciate
sure.
it getting started with you being able to capture some of that incredible footage. Nathan
Yeah, well, I
Boydovic,
appreciate it.
owner of Nate's Dronography. Appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us this
All
morning.
right. Thank you so much, guys.
All right.